II celebrates 70 years as British monarch. Queen Elizabeth II celebrates 70 years as British monarch. Welcome to News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Rob, and joining me today is Neil. Hello, Neil.
Hi, Rob, and hello, everybody. If you would like to test yourself on the vocabulary you hear, there's a quiz on our website at bbclearningenglish.com. Now let's hear more about that news story from this BBC radio report.
The Queen has become the first British monarch to spend 70 years on the throne, a milestone she's marked by expressing her eternal gratitude for the support she's received and reiterating that her life will always be devoted to service. In a message released to coincide with her Platinum Jubilee, she's also written of her sincere wish that Prince Charles's wife, Camilla, be known as Queen Consort when he becomes king.
Queen Elizabeth II, the monarch of the United Kingdom, has been on the throne for 70 years. Now, that is a record for a British monarch. Nobody has been on the throne that long before. The Queen became Queen 70 years ago when she was 25 years old, when her father, George VI, died. Another announcement the Queen made is that she wishes Camilla, that is the wife of Prince Charles, to be known as Queen Consort when Prince Charles becomes king.
Yeah, and we've got 3 words and expressions from the newspaper headlines that we can use to talk about this story, haven't we? What are they?
Yes, we have. We have got milestone, tributes, and heartfelt.
That's milestone, tributes, and heartfelt. Okay, let's have a look at your first news headline, please.
Yep, the first one comes from The Independent, which is based in the UK, and the headline reads, Queen pictured working in new image released for 70-year milestone.
Milestone, important point in someone's life.
Yes. Now, you just said it's an important point in someone's life, but let's break this word up to see its origin. We have the word mile and we have the word stone. Now, mile is a measurement, a distance, which is the equivalent of, Rob?
Equivalent of 1.6 kilometres.
Yes, 1.6 kilometres is a mile. The second word there is stone. Stone is a rock. Now, you put them together, you have a milestone. And a milestone is a marker that used to be on the side of the road, which would tell you how far it was to a certain place.
Yeah, so it's a kind of marker, as you say. Therefore, metaphorically, a milestone is a marker in someone's life.
That's right. So we're not talking literally here about a stone with 70 written on it for the Queen. It's figurative, it's metaphorical, and we use milestone to talk about important points in someone's life.
And we also use milestone in connection with project management, don't we?
We do, yes. In project management, often milestones are set. Now, these are points or dates in a project when certain things should be achieved by, to make sure that the project is going smoothly.
Okay. What about you, Neil? Any milestones in your life coming up?
Well, would you believe, Rob, that I joined the BBC in 2002, which is 20 years ago. So that is an important milestone for my career.
It sounds like it. We'll put a special plaque up on the wall to mark this important milestone.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to celebrating your 50th.
Very good. Okay, well, we've reached the milestone in our programme for a summary. In News Review last year, we talked about a milestone in American politics. What was that all about, Neil?
Yes, we did a story about Kamala Harris, the first woman of colour to become the Vice President of the United States. If you want to find out more about that story, what do our viewers have to do, Rob?
Just click on the link down below.
Just click.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at your next news headline, please, Neil.
My next headline comes from BBC News and it reads, Prince Charles leads Jubilee tributes to remarkable Queen.
That's tributes, announcements showing respect and admiration for someone or something.
Yeah, so a tribute, that's a noun, tributes, plural there in the headline. And a tribute is something you say or write or do in order to mark or pay respect to somebody's achievement.
So I get that, but what are we kind of paying tribute for particularly?
Okay, so in this case, it's an important anniversary. The Queen has been on the throne for 70 years. That's very significant. And so we pay tribute. It means we say nice things, we write nice things, we reflect on the achievement. You might also hear it in connection with somebody's death. So when somebody important dies, or not just important, actually, somebody close to you, you might pay tribute, which is a sort of a formal way of saying that that person was really wonderful. They did lots of good things. And you'll notice that I said there, pay tribute. That's a collocation. Those words go together. To pay tribute to someone.
Yeah, just to clarify, we're not handing money over here for a tribute, are we? We're not paying someone.
No, it's not payment in terms of money. No, we say pay tribute, meaning to, in the same way we say pay respect, is to give.
Okay, and I also hear that you can be a tribute to someone.
Yes, that's right. For example, Rob, I've met your children. They're really, really wonderful, friendly kids. You've done a great job bringing them up. They are a tribute to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Neil. You're giving me a tribute, are you here?
That's right, but I'm using that expression that someone is a tribute to something. It means they've done a really good job of something and they deserve to be recognised.
Well, thank you very much for that. Let's have a summary. In News Review last year, we talked about people paying tribute to the drummer of Rolling Stones, Charlie Watts. You can watch that video again, but how can people watch that, Neil?
All you need to do is click on the link below.
Great. Let's have a look at your third headline, please.
My next headline comes from the Daily Express, another UK-based news organisation, and the headline is Queen hails anniversary of groundbreaking British feat in new heartfelt message.
Heartfelt, strong, sincere feeling.
Yeah, lots of really interesting vocabulary in that headline, but we're focusing on heartfelt. Again, another word which we can break up and look at the individual parts and try to understand it that way. So we have heart at the beginning. Heart, obviously the organ in your body which pumps blood around, but used very often figuratively, metaphorically, to talk about things connected to emotion, love, and that type of thing. And felt, obviously, there is the past of feel. So put together, heartfelt, we are talking about sincere, emotional responses.
So it's something we really feel inside. It's not something we casually feel or casually say. It really is a feeling that we have inside, a genuine feeling for someone.
Yeah, if we were in the office and you made me a cup of tea, Rob, I wouldn't give you a heartfelt thank you. I would. That's a little bit over the top. But if I'm at a wedding, I might hear a speech by the father of the bride giving a heartfelt speech about his daughter. It'd be very emotional, very sincere.
Okay. If I spilt this cup of tea over you, of course, and made a mess of your clothes, I would give you a heartfelt apology.
Well, if I was about to go and do something really important and you completely ruined my outfit, so it was quite serious, then a heartfelt apology might be a good idea, yes.
Okay, let's now have a heartfelt summary. Okay, it's time now to look back at the words we've been discussing in this programme, Neil.
Yes, we had milestone, important point in someone's life, tributes, announcements showing respect and admiration for someone or something, and heartfelt, strong, sincere feeling.
Thank you. Now, if you want to test your understanding of those words, we have a quiz on our website at bbclearningenglish.com. And that's the place to go to for all our Learning English resources. We are, of course, all over social media as well, so check us out. That's all for News Review for this week. The US orders diplomats' families to leave Ukraine as concerns of a Russian invasion grow. Hello, this is News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Rob, and joining me today is Roy. Hello, Roy.
Hello, Rob, and hello, everybody. If you would like to test yourself on the vocabulary around this story, all you need to do is head to our website, bbclearningenglish.com, to take a quiz. But now let's hear more about this story from this BBC News report.
The United States has ordered the relatives of its embassy staff in Ukraine to leave the country and advised Americans not to travel to Russia amid rising tension in the region. The State Department said there were reports that Russia was planning significant military action against Ukraine. Moscow denies planning an invasion despite massing tens of thousands of troops on the border.
So, the United States has told families of staff who work in embassies in Ukraine to leave. It has also told its citizens not to travel to Russia. This is due to fears that there will be some kind of military action by Russia against Ukraine, something that Russia denies.
And we've got 3 words and expressions from the news headlines that we can use to talk about this story, haven't we? What are those expressions and words, please, Roy?
Yes, we do. We have ways options, fears mount, and non-essential staff.
So that's ways options, fears mount, and non-essential staff. Well, okay, let's have a look at our first news headline then, please.
Okay, so our first headline comes from Reuters, and it reads, US tells diplomats' families to leave Ukraine, weighs troop options.
So that's weighs options, considers value of potential plans.
Okay, so in the headline, this is a 2-word expression. Now, usually we have an article in there, for example, we say weigh the options. But because this is a headline, they have removed that. You can say weigh all the options or weigh all options. First word in the headline is weigh, W-E-I-G-H. Second word, options, O-P-T-I-O-N-S. And it basically means to carefully consider the results or outcomes of a plan.
Okay, and I'm familiar with the word weigh. It's to do with weight, usually, about how heavy things are. So are we kind of weighing up the options and seeing how heavy the options are?
Well, not exactly. Okay, so with the word weigh, you're talking about measuring how heavy something is. So you're considering the weight of something, if you like. The options are potential plans. So what it actually means is that you're considering potential plans and their potential outcomes. In the terms of the headline, it is saying that they are considering the troop options or the military options with the army that they have.
And we can also say that we weigh consequences. That's kind of looking at the potential results of our actions. Is that right?
Exactly. So you say the consequences will be carefully weighed, and you've absolutely got it right there. It's talking about considering those results. Now, weigh is actually a little bit formal. We also have a phrasal verb that means something very similar, and that is weigh up. Now, this is a separable phrasal verb, so you can weigh something up or weigh up something.
So for example, I could weigh up what I'm going to do this weekend. In fact, I do every Friday. I weigh up what I'm going to do, how I'm going to spend my weekend and look at the different possibilities.
Yeah, you consider your options. And for example, at the end of the day, I weigh up which video game I'm going to play in the evening. I'm like, should I play that one? Should I play that one? I weigh up my options.
Hard decisions, eh? Hard decisions. Okay, let's have a summary of that expression. We've talked about many things here on News Review, and one of the subjects was a plan to bring live music back after the COVID lockdowns. That's a News Review video, but how can we watch that again, Roy?
All you need to do is click the link in the description below.
Thank you. Okay, let's have a look at your next news headline, please.
Okay, so the next headline comes from Fox 29 Philadelphia, and it reads, US Embassy families in Ukraine ordered to leave country as war fears mount.
Fears mount. Concerns gradually increase.
Okay, so this is a two-word expression. First word, fears, F-E-A-R-S. Second word is a verb, mount, M-O-U-N-T. And it basically means that concerns or worries over a situation are growing.
Okay, and I'm familiar again with that word fears. I mean, I have a fear. I have a fear of spiders. I suppose you could call it a phobia. Is that the kind of fears we're talking about?
Not exactly. Now, a phobia is a general fear of something. It's very terrifying. What we're talking about with fears in the headline is a concern or worry over something serious happening. So you're talking about those fears are increasing. They're gradually growing. Now, that word mount basically means something is increasing or growing. And we don't always just use it with fear. We can also use it with something like excitement. So for example, excitement can mount. Now, we also use the word mount as a verb in another way. So for example, if you've got a horse or a bicycle, when you say you get on the bicycle, when you get up, again, that idea of up, on the bicycle or the horse, you mount the horse.
Okay, and also you could say you mount a painting, can't you? When you put a painting up on the wall,
Yeah.
You're mounting it.
When you fix it and attach it up on the wall, again, that idea, maybe they're up. So there's also that common theme of up.
Great. Okay, so that's fears mount. Thanks for that explanation. Let's have a summary. So there we were talking about fears mount or fears arising, but we did a video about the difference between the words raise and rise. That was English in a minute. How can we watch that again, Roy?
Okay, so all you need to do is click the link in the description below.
Great. Okay, let's have a look at your final headline, please.
Okay, so our next headline comes from The Independent, and it reads, US Embassy in Ukraine requests departure of non-essential staff, report says.
So that's non-essential staff, employees who are not necessary for critical functions.
Yes, so this is a two-word expression. First word, non-essential, Nonessential. Second word, staff, Staff. And it basically refers to employees or workers who are not critical for primary functions.
Okay, and non-essential then is not necessary, not needed. Does that mean they're not important?
No, not exactly, no. So when we refer to the word essential, that basically means completely necessary. So, for example, oxygen is essential for life. I need to breathe. Breathing is essential. When we talk about something that is non-essential, it's, for example, video games. I love video games. I talked about them earlier. I love video games, but they're not essential. They're non-essential. I can live without playing video games. Now, if we talk about non-essential staff, let's consider maybe a cruise ship. So on a cruise ship, there are people that help the ship continue on its voyage, and they stop the ship from sinking. Maybe they work in the engine room. So, but non-essential staff are maybe the people like the entertainers or something like that.
Okay, so you've got the essential staff looking after the safety, non-essential, the extra people providing the entertainment that you could survive without, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Now let's look at that word staff. So staff is usually an uncountable noun. We talk about, for example, in a hospital, all the workers are called the hospital staff. In this sense, we don't normally say 4 staffs, for example. If you want to make the word staff countable, we say staff members. So 4 staff members, or worker or employee. 4 workers, 4 employees.
And going back to the word non-essential, does that just relate to staff? It can relate to other things, can't it?
It can. For example, something that is essential, we can talk about goods, non-essential goods. Food is essential to live. Electronics, for example, they're non-essential goods.
Got it. Okay, let's have a summary of that expression. Okay, Roy, it's time now for you to recap the words and expressions we've discussed today.
Yes, we had weighs options, considers value of potential plans. We had fears mount, concerns gradually increase. And we had non-essential staff, employees who are not necessary for critical functions.
And don't forget, if you want to test your understanding of these expressions, there's a quiz on our website at bbclearningenglish.com. And that's the place to go to for all our other learning English resources. But of course, we're also on social media, so check us out there as well. Okay, well, that's the end of News Review for today. Do join us again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Rafael Nadal has won a record 21st Grand Slam singles title in Australia. Hello, welcome to News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Rob, and joining me to talk about this story is Roy. Hello, Roy.
Hello, Rob, and hello, everybody. If you would like to test yourself on the vocabulary around this story, all you need to do is head to our website, bbclearningenglish.com, to take a quiz. But now let's hear more about this story from this BBC News report.
Rafael Nadal has become the most successful men's tennis player of all time after winning a record 21st Grand Slam singles title. The Spanish star made history by beating Russia's Daniil Medvedev to clinch the Australian Open in an epic final, lasting more than 5 hours.
So, Rafael Nadal has won a record 21 Grand Slam singles titles, and he has moved ahead of rivals Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. In the Australian Open, he played against, in the final, Daniil Medvedev, and at times it looked like he was going to lose, but in the end, he won.
Yeah, and we've got 3 words and expressions from the news headlines to help us talk about this story. What are those words and expressions, please, Roy?
We have comeback, Herculean, and goat.
So that's comeback, Herculean, and goat. Okay, let's have a look at the first expression from a news headline, please.
Yes, so our first expression comes from Reuters, and the headline reads, Emotional Nadal finds the fire for his greatest comeback.
So that's comeback, winning after being in a losing position.
Yes, so comeback is spelled C-O-M-E-B-A-C-K, and it is a noun, and it basically means to win after being in a losing position.
Okay, let's talk about this match. I watched this match, and of course, at first, Nadal was losing, but then he got better, and therefore he made a comeback, didn't he?
Yeah, a perfect example of a comeback. And it is commonly used in sporting events, for example, like that. But there are other ways that we use comeback other than to say winning after being in a losing position. But first, let's have a look at those words, or that word come.
There's that expression come and go. These words get confused a bit, don't they?
They do. Okay, so the difference between come and go, they're both about traveling to a place. But a lot of it depends on perspective. Let's talk about go first. Go is when you're traveling to another place. So in a conversation, I will be the speaker. Rob, you are the listener. I say I will go to Brazil. It is another place where neither the speaker, me, or the listener is present. So you go there, go to another place. Come is a little bit different. It means travel to a place where either the listener, which is you, or the speaker is present. So for example, I could come to your house, which is where you are present, or you could come to my house. So it's like come here and go there, very simplistically put. Come back is a phrasal verb which means return to here, and it is inseparable. So we say come back home, for example. So I went to Brazil earlier this year, and then I came back to the UK 4 weeks later.
And also, could I say, if you visited my house and you left your car keys behind, could I say to you, Roy, come back, you've forgotten your keys?
Yeah, it basically means return to me, come back here.
Are you making a comeback when you come back for your keys then?
Well, that's interesting. That's another use of comeback there. We have another use, and it quite often gets used to mean return to one's success or to return to an activity that someone was successful for. Now, last year, Neil and we did a news review about ABBA making a comeback tour. That basically means they're returning to the activity, the concerts, the performances that they were famous for, a comeback.
And in sport, sometimes we hear about footballers making a comeback after a long period of illness or injury.
Absolutely. It can be used as both a noun and a verb, to come back from injury or a comeback.
Got it. Okay, let's have a summary of comeback.
Rõ ràng ở ngoài nhìn vào mà thấy một PT đang dạy cho khách nước ngoài thì thật sự rất.
Roy just mentioned about ABBA making a comeback, and that's what we discussed last year in News Review. How can we watch that video again, please, Roy?
All you need to do is click the link in the description below.
Okay, let's now have a look at your next news headline, please.
Okay, so our next headline comes from BBC Sport, and it reads, "A final of Herculean proportions. Reaction to Rafael Nadal's epic Australian Open triumph."
So that's Herculean, requiring great effort, or epic.
So Herculean is spelled Herculean, and it's being used as an adjective, and it basically describes something that requires a lot of effort or is incredible or epic.
Now, I've heard of Hercules. Is he related to Heracles?
Okay, so Hercules is present in Roman mythology. I believe he is the son of Jupiter, and he was famously talked about as being just incredibly strong and athletic and physically fit. Heracles is the Greek mythological version of Hercules. Now, in British English, we sometimes use the adjective form of the name Hercules, Herculean, to talk about something that requires an incredible amount of strength or energy, and it quite often is used to talk about sporting events. So if an athlete makes a Herculean effort to win the race, maybe they run faster than you could ever imagine. But we don't only limit it to talking about sporting events. You can also use it to talk about incredible efforts in other areas.
Yes, such as natural disasters. When we hear about some of the terrible things that have happened, we hear about a Herculean effort to help the people who've been devastated by, say, floods or a tornado, that sort of thing. Lots of effort involved to help the people.
Yeah, like just a massive movement to evacuate, help, deliver aid. It's a Herculean effort.
And we also talk about the effort we make at work. We use this word then, don't we?
Absolutely. We use it. We say a Herculean task, maybe something that is incredibly difficult. Now, it is quite commonly used to talk about something physical labor. So something that requires a lot of strength. You could say it's a Herculean task. But we also use it to talk about work that is very difficult or something that is incredibly time-consuming.
Okay, and I think you've made a Herculean effort to explain this word. So let's have a summary. We've talked a lot about climate change, and in 6-Minute English, we talked about changing the Earth's climate. How can we watch that video, please, Roy?
All you need to do is click the link in the description.
Great. Okay, let's have a look at your next headline, please.
Okay, so our next headline comes from The Express, and it reads, Rafa Nadal has taken giant step towards GOAT status as Djokovic and Federer watch on.
So that's GOAT, greatest of all time.
Yes, so GOAT is spelled G-O-A-T, and it is an acronym which stands for greatest of all time, but we say GOAT.
Okay, and just to be clear, we're not talking about the farmyard animal, and we're not talking about goats winning tennis here, are we?
No, I've got that image in my mind, but no. No, we're not talking about the animal commonly seen on a farm or sometimes on mountainsides that are famous for eating nearly everything. They just eat everything, and they have horns and a little beard. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about an acronym, greatest of all time, GOAT. Now, an acronym is something where we take the first letters of several words and say it as one word. For example, NASA, NATO, and this one is greatest of all time, G-O-A-T, GOAT.
Right, and we're not just talking about somebody amazing. This is the most amazing person ever, the greatest.
Of all time. Of all time, yeah, absolutely. So it's not just like, oh, they're really good. This is the greatest example of that person or of that achievement ever. And we do commonly use it to talk about sports stars, but we also use it to talk about maybe music, singers, bands. Oh, that band is the GOAT. Video games, things that we believe are the greatest ever. And you can use it as a noun and also an adjective. He or she or they are the GOAT. Or you can also say they will forever be known as GOAT.
Okay, well, not only are you the GOAT of News Review, you look a bit like a goat as well. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, very good.
Let's have a summary. Okay, Roy, it's now time to recap the vocabulary we've talked about today, please.
Yeah, sure. We had comeback, winning after being in a losing position. We had Herculean, requiring great effort, epic. And we had GOAT, greatest of all time.
Don't forget, you can test yourself on the words and expressions we've discussed today in a quiz, and that's on our website at bbclearningenglish.com. There's lots of other learning English resources there too. And don't forget, of course, we're all across social media. That's all for News Review for today. We'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.